Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 and Viksit Bharat in 2047 in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing as part of awareness and campaigns. So before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
Kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampada Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampada Shatru buddhi vinashaya Deepajyotir namostute Deepajyotir namostute Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampada Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhanasampada
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are commemorating International Day of Deaf Blindness on 27 June, recognizing deaf blindness, a distinct disability requiring special support and inclusion. Deaf blindness is a combined vision and hearing impairment of such severity that is hard for the impaired senses to compensate for each other, and is thus a distinct disability with its own specific challenges, barriers, and requirements for support and inclusion, different from those provided to individuals who are solely deaf or blind. So deaf-blind persons face barriers owing to deaf blindness not being treated and are recognized as a distinct disability, further leading to invisibility in statistics, policies, and programs, and therefore impeding access to services. Professional deaf-blind interpreters and interpreter guides are critical in ensuring access to information, communication, services, and fundamental rights, as well as enabling individuals with deaf blindness to have independently and be included in the community. The General Assembly adopted Resolution 79/294, proclaiming 27 June of each year the International Day of Deaf Blindness. The day commemorates the birth of renowned author Helen Keller, 1880 to 1968, one of the most iconic figures in the deaf blindness community. Helen Keller visited the United headquarters in 1949. Miss Keller is seen during a committee meeting with her secretary, Miss Polly Thompson, who is interpreting the debate for her credit. The red and white striped cane is used by the deaf-blind community as an important tool for mobility and identification. So the conference of the state parties to the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, in short known as CUSP, was established in 2008. The 18th session of CUSP took place at the United Nations headquarters, New York, from 10th to 12th June 2025 under the theme Enhancing Public Awareness of the Rights and Contributions of Persons with Disabilities for Social Development leading up to Second World Summit for Social Development. This session focused across 3 roundtables on the issues of innovative financing, the use of artificial intelligence, and the rights of indigenous people with disabilities. So when we secure the rights of persons with disabilities, we move our world closer to upholding the core values and principles of the United Nations Charter. The United Nations Disability Inclusion Strategy provides the foundation for the sustainable and transformative progress on disability inclusion through all pillars of the work of the United Nations, peace and security, human rights and development. So 5 years in the United Nations is committed to building a more inclusive, accessible, sustainable organization for all. The United Nations Disability Inclusion Strategy, launched in 2019, provides a comprehensive roadmap with concrete benchmarks to take action to assess and address barriers to the full inclusion and meaningful participation of persons with disabilities in all their diversity, and to measure progress across all areas of the work. When launching the United Nations Disability Inclusion Strategy in 2019, the Secretary General stated that the United Nations should lead by example and raise the organization's standards and performance of the disability inclusion across all pillars of work from headquarters to the field. To track progress on steps taken by the United Nations system to mainstream disability inclusion and implement the strategy, the Secretary General submits an annual system-wide report to the General Assembly. The report establishes recommendations for a system to do more and lays down concrete steps to support to member states to implement the Convention on the Rights of the Persons with Disabilities and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, contributing to a more inclusive United Nations for all. Since 2019, the system-wide reports have shown how disability inclusion have been progressively embedded into the operations of the programs of 132 United Nations country teams and United Nations entities. So entities and the agency, funds and programs, offices and departments and other related organizations of the United Nations. The fifth report analyzes the continued actions underway by an increasing number of entities and 132 country teams across the programs and operations of the United Nations in 2023. So building on 5 years of implementation, this year's report reflects on the progress made to advance disability inclusion, highlights new or continuing challenges and opportunities presented through the strategies implemented, and emphasizes key areas of focus needed to continue mobilizing the system towards an inclusive, accessible, and sustainable world for all. Today is also commemorated as Micro, Small, and Medium-Sized Enterprises Day on 27th June every year, with the theme for 2025, enhancing the role of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, as drivers of sustainable growth and innovation. 600 million jobs will be needed by 2030 to absorb the growing global workforce, which makes SME development a high priority for many governments around the world. In emerging markets, most formal jobs are generated by SMEs, which creates 7 out of 10 jobs. Access to finance is disproportionately difficult for smaller firms in the least developed countries, LDCs, with 41% of SMEs in LDCs reporting access to finance as a major constraint to their growth and development by comparison to 30% in middle income countries, MICs, and only 15% in high income countries. So MSME Day comes at a pivotal moment just ahead of 4th International Conference in Financing for Development, in short known as FFD4 in Sevilla, and the Second World Summit for Social Development in Doha amid shifts in the global trading landscape. It offers a timely opportunity to spotlight the vital role of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, in driving inclusive growth and sustainable development, and to get lives of finance, policy support, and enabling conditions they need to thrive. Micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises are key sources of jobs, income, and local growth, especially for women, young people, and vulnerable groups. Their size and flexibility also help build strong, fair, and sustainable communities. However, many of these businesses face serious challenges. They often struggle to get loans, deal with poor infrastructure, and work under tough conditions. Many operate informally, which limits their access to funding, legal rights, and government support. Today, global challenges like political tensions, climate change, and digital shifts make it even harder for them to survive. Supply chain issues, higher costs, and uncertain markets have left many at risk. A huge global funding gap remains despite clear opportunities to grow. To help these businesses succeed, better policies and more accessible funding are crucial. Support for skills training, innovation, and fairer rules can also make a big difference, since many operate outside the formal system, making it easier to register, access benefits, and follow labor laws will help create better jobs and stronger economies. So a high-level panel will surface actionable ideas and position MSME priorities at the forefront. In the conference that was held on 24th June 2025. So on 27th, 2025, an event is also organized celebrating the importance and resilience of MSMEs and global experts to elevate their impact in global economy. So MSMEs account for 90% of business, 60 to 70% of employment, and 50% of GDP worldwide. As a backbone of societies everywhere, they contribute to local and national economies and to sustaining livelihoods, in particular among the working poor, women and youth and groups in vulnerable situations. MSMEs hold the potential to transform economies, foster job creation, and promote equitable economic growth if given adequate support. MSMEs Day aims to highlight their pivotal role and explore opportunities for their further advancement. The United Nations General Assembly designated 27 June as Micro, Small, and Medium-Sized Enterprises Day to raise awareness of the tremendous contributions of MSMEs to the achievement of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs). So the top trends for MSMEs in 2025 highlights key shifts shaping small business worldwide, combating cybercrime and counterfeits, human-centered management, digital collaboration, empowering women entrepreneurs, circular economy models, bureaucracy challenges, AI, and inclusive, resilient growth. The importance of MSMEs for the SDGs are vital as they are an important element in the implementation of SDG 8, decent work and economic growth, and SDG 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. So the top 10 micro, small, and medium enterprises trends for 2025 are MSMEs navigating counterfeiters and cybersecurity pitfalls, human-centered entrepreneurship, a rising movement, MSMEs forming collaborative alliances, an elegant evolution. The evolution of women entrepreneurs progress remains slow, and circular economy business model sustainability takes center stage. ESG principles lost in bureaucracy, stifling MSMEs and navigating trade wars, the humanizing of artificial intelligence and the rise of Gen AI, and peace for economic development and prosperity, bureaucracy hindering entrepreneurship and innovation. We don't need more control, we need more creativity. Let's assign entrepreneurs these roles and watch how things progress. The future of business demands it. Simply stating that going digital will streamline operations is no longer enough. Many digital platforms replicate the same bureaucratic inefficiencies in a virtual format, leaving entrepreneurs bogged down by systems as cumbersome as their manual predecessors. What MSMEs need is to just digitization, but genuine simplification. Governments must reevaluate their regulatory frameworks and remove steps that no longer serve a purpose. They must prioritize clarity and efficiency, focus on fostering innovation rather than enforcing excessive control. The message is clear. Today is also commemorated as Helen Keller's Day, which is celebrated on June 27th, and it celebrates the life and achievements of Helen Keller, a woman who overcome blindness and deafness and has become famous in the process. Annie Sullivan was Keller's teacher, and she received acclaim in her own right. When Sullivan was just 5 years of age, she suffered from trachoma, an eye disease that impaired her vision. She had to learn the North manual alphabet and faced adversity herself because of it. She was called a miracle worker for helping teach her pupil how to read and write when no one thought she would learn. Helen Keller was born on June 27, 1880, in Tuscumbia, Alabama. But things turned bad quickly. At 19 months, she suffered from a form of bacterial meningitis, which left her unable to see her or speak. The family sought the advice of Alexander Graham Bell, a famous scientist and inventor known for inventing the first telephone, who advised them to apply to the Perkins Institute for the Blind in Boston. They followed Bell's advice, and in 1887, Keller was taught by Annie Sullivan, a young teacher who suffered vision impairment herself. Sullivan used touch teaching techniques, and her skilled guidance calmed the seeming Keller learned how to read and write in Braille thanks to Sullivan's own experiences that gave her a deeper understanding of her student struggles. Keller also used hand signals of the deaf mute, which she understood by touch. Keller would go on to become an author in 1902. Her book, The Story of My Life, was published and loved by many who took her story to the heart. She graduated from Radcliffe College and graduated with honors in 1904, making her the first blind and deaf woman to graduate from college. Thanks to the Sullivan assistance, and became a public speaker, requiring the assistance of an interpreter to make herself understand. People were inspired by her resounding spirit to surpass the expectations placed on her because of her disabilities, and it led to the advances in public services of the handicapped. Helen Keller was a fundraiser for the American Foundation for the Blind and an advocate for racial and sexual equality. Sullivan and Keller became a lifelong duo, and from 1920 to 24, they formed a vaudeville act to entertain, raise money, and educate the public. On June 1st, 1968, Keller died in presidential proclamation. Keller died in Eastern Connecticut at age 87, but her legacy of civil service and resilient spirit is everlasting. The presidential proclamation of Helen Keller Day was made in 2006, as well as many notable international organizations that help the blind and deaf. Today, we are also having other commemorations. Today is also commemorated as Tajikistan Unity Day on June 27. In Tajikistan, on this day, 23 years ago, President Emomali Rahmon of Tajikistan signed the General Agreement on Peace and National Consent, putting an end to the country's 5-year civil war. For Tajikistan, this is a significant document since it has laid the ground for democratic growth. Tajikistan, which dates back to the Samanid Empire, was proclaimed a component republic of the Soviet Union and remained such until the Soviet Union collapsed in 1990. Today is also commemorated as Screen Repair Day, dedicated to fixing up the screens around your house. Window, door screens are invaluable additions to houses, especially in summer. This day reminds us to tackle this task as a way of caring for our home. Window and door screens represent one of the humanity's clever solutions to an age-old problem: how to let fresh air in while keeping bugs out. The concept emerged from necessity as a people discovered the joy of open windows and the annoyance of unwanted insect visitors. The earliest screens appeared in ancient Egypt and China, where people stretched cloth or woven needs across the openings. These barriers offered some protection, but they blocked much of the precious airflow people desperately needed in hot climates. Today is also commemorated as Rath Yatra across the world, and especially is celebrated with pomp and glory, which is on the second day of the 2-week-long Ashada month of Hindu calendar, and it takes place on June 27, that is today. This festival usually falls between the June and July. Millions of devotees from all over India congregate in the pilgrim city of Puri, Odisha, to participate in the chariot journey of Lord Jagannath. Rath Yatra is one of the most important festivals. So the day starts with the Mangalaparna ritual, followed by today is also commemorated as Rath Yatra till June 27, which is celebrated on the second day of the 2-week-long Ashada month of the Hindu calendar. and this year it takes place on June 27th. The festival usually falls between June and July. Millions of devotees from all over India congregate in the Today, we're also commemorating Ratha Yatra, which is celebrated on the second day of 2 week long Ashada month of the Hindu calendar, and this year it takes place on January 27th. The festival usually falls between 7th and July. Millions of devotees from all over India congregates into the pilgrim city of Puri, Odisha to participate in the chariot journey. It is also commemorated as PTSD Awareness Day in US on June 27th. We talk about PTSD, a complex disorder caused by experiencing or witnessing trauma. The trauma necessary to cause PTSD can originate from many events, potentially an account, an accident, combat, a natural disaster, or an assault. But there are other ways PTSD symptoms can arise. A trained professional must diagnose PTSD based on the symptoms like hypervigilance, mood swings, recurring and involuntary flashbacks to the trauma, and avoidance. The National Center for PTSD declared all the June to be PTSD Awareness Month. You can help their campaign by educating yourself and others about the illness and sharing help with those who might need it. PTSD, in some form or another, has long been documented in humans. The earliest known literature from the disorder is a poem from 50 BC. Hippocrates narrated a traumatic battle experience about a soldier who was haunted by the PTSD like combat flashbacks. PTSD has consistently been mentioned since then, notably during the Hundred Years' War between England and France, and even in the literature of Shakespeare, including Romeo and Juliet. A new understanding of PTSD came with the Civil War in 1800s as the disorder became widespread in the traumatic country. PTSD was known under a variety of names, including railway spine. It was in 1915 that some understanding of PTSD was formally introduced into medical literature under the name of shell shock. So the Vietnam War issued yet again a new understanding of the disorder. This coincided with research done by psychologists on both Holocaust victims and the rape victims, which helped prove that many kinds of trauma can lead to PTSD. Today it's considered largely treatable, so we made a lot of progress. The Senate recognized June 27th as National PTSD Awareness Day. At the urging Senator Kent Conrad, wanted to honor a North Dakota National Guard member who had committed suicide after 2 hours of duty in Iraq. In 2014, the entire month of June was designated National PTSD Awareness Month by the Senate. Today is also commemorated as National Women's Fly Fishing Day, especially in US, which is dedicated to honoring and promoting female fly fishing anglers throughout the world. Emerald Water Anglers is a woman responsible for the establishment of this day. Observation in 2000, women are encouraged to inform and to form friendships with other female anglers in their communities. And fly fish learn, uplift, and support one another. By publishing images, we can make our presence known. Today is also commemorated as National Safer Workplace Day on June 27, which is on the last Friday of June every year, commemorating the Safer Workplace Initiative, which promote workplace safety and heightened focus on mission safety to reduce the potential of near misses, accidents, and injuries. So machine safeguarding consistently remains among the top 10 OSHA violations yearly. The goal of this day is to provide machine translation and machine manufacturers and end users with the proper tools to help create a safer workplace. So let's support this event by learning more about the importance of a safe workplace. Take out some time to assess your workspace and pinpoint any task, process, or equipment that could jeopardize your work and your safety. Today is also commemorated as National Orange Blossom Day on June 27th. Is held in the honor of the amazing white flower used in the food, perfumes, and various other applications worldwide. The orange blossom adds a wonderful citrusy fragrance to products. The white flower of the bitter orange tree, cousin to the sweet orange and lemongrass, is a native of India and China, but has grown in sun-drenched lands for centuries. Today it is found all over the Mediterranean Sea, from Italy to Spain, Morocco, and Tunisia. Mythology states that the orange tree symbolizes paradise and love, and its white flowers are purity, and its fruit is fertility. The craze for this flower is reported to have spread throughout the Islamic Empire, and it reached Spain in the 9th century. 3 centuries later, this fragrant plant made its way to Sicily and the Provence, introduced by the Crusaders. In Rome, the orange blossom essence gained much popularity because of the nobleman's wife who would wear this essence everywhere, quickly becoming fashionable. This scent spread throughout the French court. King Louis XIV, who was been passionate about perfumes from a very young age, suffered from severe headaches. Only the mild and fragrant orange blossom scent soothed him. Every other scent was too overpowering. By the time the orange blossom reached England, the world was already enthralled by its scent. Legends had spread around the continent of maidens entwining fresh orange blossoms into a bridal wreath for their hair. This even gave birth to the phrase to gather orange blossoms, which actually meant to seek a wife. Today is also commemorated as National Onion Day. Especially in US, today farmers in the United States are collecting millions of onions. They would be heading for store shelves to provide families with the fresh, nutritional, tasty power to improve meals and boost their body's immunity. Onions have numerous advantages, such as enhancing meals with a variety of flavors. According to recent research, consuming onions also helps the body fight colorectal cancer and the breast cancer, as well as the heart disease and diabetes. So National Onion Day commemorates the incorporation of National Onion Association in 1913. The organization was created to protect the interest of America's onion growers, and onions remain their business to this day. Today, the group represents over 500 onion producers, shippers, packers, and suppliers across the country. In June 2022, the National Onion Association established National Onion Day to commemorate the organization's 53rd anniversary. They officially incorporated on June 27, 1930 in Ohio and represent almost 500 union farmers, shippers, packers, and allied members across the US. Today is also commemorated as National HIV Testing Day in US. Each year, America observes it on June 27th, raising awareness about the importance of testing for HIV and getting an early diagnosis. Called NHTD in short, this day is crucial for encouraging people to increase HIV testing and know their status and thus can get the care they need to treat this illness. Today is also commemorated as Djibouti Independence Day in Djibouti, and which is a national holiday where we celebrate the declaration of independence of the country from France in 1977. The occasion is celebrated by hosting the Djibouti national flag parade, speeches from the president and prime minister, and various cultural and entertainment programs. Djibouti is a country located in the Horn of Africa. They share borders with the Somaliland, Ethiopia, Eritrea, and the Red Sea. The country has a history of sacrifice and struggles for independence. The story of independence and events that followed would be major topic of discussions throughout the country during this time. Today is also commemorated as Decide to be Married Day, especially in US on June 27th. Annually getting married is similar to going out to eat with friends. In that culture, you may place your order, then you wish you had ordered that when you see what the other person has. This might be the sign that you have been looking for. This day could be your time, so get ready to pop the question whether you are planning a massive flash mob, which we hope you are, or a sweet proclamation of love over dinner. June 27th is the day we honor all types of proposals. Weddings are one of humanity's most pleasurable festivities with traditions that differ by culture. It is nonetheless one of the most demanding occasions to organize. The planning usually takes a toll on both the bride and groom, bringing them down from high of the proposal, especially if no one is present to help. Today is also commemorated as Day of Turkmen Workers of Culture and Art in Turkmenistan, which is an annual professional holiday observed in Turkmenistan on June 27, recognizes the country's artists and cultural workers who contribute to the spiritual and intellectual development of the Turkmen society. It is not, however, a public holiday and businesses are open as usual. The day serves to promote Turkmenistan legacy and to bring artists and cultural workers together with ordinary folks. It has been commemorated since 2009. And the celebrations have grown in intensity. Today is also commemorated as Cream Tea Day in UK, which is celebrated on the last Friday of June, takes place on June 27th. This year, the founders of National Cream Tea Day are Rhoda's Clotted Cream and Tiptree. Afternoon cream tea is a British tradition that began in the 19th century and took place daily today. It encourages people to come together, enjoy a cream tea, and raise money for worthy causes. Tiptree and Rhoda's Clotted Cream make up the Cream Tea Society, which is a community for those who love all things cream tea. Historically, Rhoda's and Tiptree donate up to 50,000 portions of Cornish clotted cream and jam a year to help charity event organizers on their way. Last year, the society supported 57 charity events on National Cream Tea Day. They like to encourage people to raise money for their own favorite charities. So today is also commemorated as Drive Your Poverty to Work Day in US. Each year on Friday, that is closest to June 30, the day first Coverty was produced. This year it falls on June 27. The first 300 Corvettes were all polo white convertibles with black canvas tops and red interiors and produced at the facility in Flint. Since the millions of Corvettes have been produced, this day is a perfect day to travel in style to work in your precious Corvette. The Corvette has been in existence since early 1950s and the year after first car was rolled out. It remains a favorite for speed and acceleration. Today is also commemorated as National Bingo Day. Not everyone who grew up during a certain part of the late 20th century is familiar with this game, which was first came to the US in 1930, started with paper cards sporting 24 numbered squares arranged in 5 rows and 5 columns, plus the enticing free space in the middle, which seems to promote a shortcut to riches. Bingo is making a comeback today thanks to the bingo games on mobile devices, celebrates America's love of bingo. Today is also commemorated as National Food Truck Day, which is on the last Friday in June, that is this year, June 27th. It's a special day to champion food trucks and encourage the hardworking men and women whose food business support the local economy. People celebrate the day by purchasing from their local food trucks, which offer a variety of tasty temptations from gourmet burgers to sushi, ice cream, assorted fries, and tacos. Food trucks are inspired by centuries old food carts dating back to the 17th century. Vendors traded food from all carts or movable mini kitchens, and the practice is still common today, where they are found on street corners, in parks, and catering to the hungry crowds at special events. Chuck wagons were the first types of food trucks. They sold edibles like beans, coffee, and biscuits to ranchers and loggers in the southern part of the country. So today is also commemorated as National Sunglasses Day. Everyone loves a good set of shades, so why not grab your best sunglasses and make some waves at the pool, beach, or just walking down the street? With your sweet shades, make sure you are wearing some sunglasses and join the fun of Sunglasses Day on June 27th. Science has shown that sunglasses make us look more attractive. There are few reasons for this. They cover up and offer a structure of symmetry on your face. No face is perfectly symmetrical, but sunglasses hide that. They add an air of mystery when you cannot see someone's eyes movements. They appear more mysterious, and the historical link between glamour and movie stars who adopted sunglasses in 1950s to avoid paparazzi. We don't need to buy most expensive glasses to get the most effective UVA, UVB protection. Even the cheap ones from the grocery store spinning racks are doing you a huge favor. Even if the sun doesn't hurt your eyes, UV rays that can cause photokeratitis, twinkle, and permanent retinal damage if you are exposed to them frequently. So look for sunglasses that protect you from 99 to 100% of both UVA and UVB. This includes those labeled as UV 400, which blocks all right rays with wavelengths up to 400 nanometers. And don't worry, they aren't hard to find. Sunglasses help prevent wrinkles in two ways. They keep your eyes relaxed and prevent squinting, which helps prevent crow's feet wrinkles at the corners of eyes and block harmful skin damaging and cancer causing UV rays from reaching the sensitive skin around our eyes. Wear sunglasses for health and to look summer. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. See you all tomorrow at the same time with the same joining link. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form before leaving the platform.